Ahead tonight, could Bahamas Air eventually support itself?
Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, more rain expected for the next few days. We've got the details, so stay tuned.
And a football player turns Rhodes Scholar makes another turn. The Bahamas tonight, the National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
What would it take to make the national flag carrier self-sufficient? Good evening, Bahamas. I'm LTV's Munnings.
And I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks so much for joining us. As the government seeks to make Bahamas Air profitable, the minister responsible for the national flag carrier says privatization is still an option that's being discussed. Tonight, C.S. Adderley spoke with the Deputy Prime Minister, who gave us an update on those talks.
Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis said 2 committees have been formed to gather information to determine the best way forward for the airline. Last week, opposition MPs called for the privatization of Bahamas Air, calling it a reoccurring financial strain to the government. Today, the Deputy Prime Minister said several key players within the aviation sector from North America, the Middle East, and the Far East have all expressed interest in becoming a strategic partner with the national flag carrier.
Well, a number of persons have been talking to Anvi and in their travels. Ministers have encountered persons who have expressed interest in airlift and attempting to see how they can become strategic partners of Bahamas Air in those airlifts. We have had some preliminary discussions in respect to all of those, and because of the number of interests being expressed, we thought it best that we form this committee to examine where Bahamas Air is.
Currently, it costs an estimated $25 million to operate Bahamas Air on an annual basis. The airline's managing director, Henry Woods, recently revealed that Bahamas Air's outlook is positive, and from all indications, revenue is increasing. Davis, who has responsibility for the airline, applauded Woods and his team's efforts to lessen the drain on the public purse over the past 2 years. As a result, the government's subvention has decreased from $27 million to $15 million. He believes they are moving in the right direction.
On the revenue side, the revenue is increasing and the expenses are decreasing. So the books are looking much better.
We would wish Bahamas Air become self-sufficient, and they're moving in that direction. But I do take my hat off for the stellar and committed work that the managing director and his team has been doing over the last 2 years to enable a lesser drain on the public purse.
Last September, Prime Minister Perry Christie suggested his focus may soon move to significantly reform Bahamas Air. Since then, the airline has explored the possibilities of expanding its routes, a move officials say is expected to come on stream later this year. C.S. Adderley, ZNS Network News.
In other news tonight, answers about alleged spying by the United States National Security Agency on Bahamians should be forthcoming in about a week or so.
This as Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, advised Parliament last night that United States Secretary of State John Kerry is in receipt of government's requests for an explanation about the recently surfaced claims about the NSA spying on every cell phone conversation in the Bahamas, and has promised an answer within a week.
Well, Candino Knowles is following House proceedings and has more from the minister, who addressed public opinion on the issue.
Foreign Minister Fred Mitchell told Parliament last night that his ministry has been able to confirm that no one in authority at any of the relevant local agencies authorized the recording of cell phone conversations in the Bahamas. It's an issue that's already been raised with a number of regional bodies, including CARICOM and the Organization of American States. And during his contribution to the budget debate last night, Mr. Mitchell addressed public opinion on the issue, as some say they do not care whether they are being monitored since they have nothing to hide. But Minister Mitchell said that that is hardly the point.
Fact is, your conversations are proprietary to you. In other words, they are your intellectual property, just as your land or car is your property. The right to control what happens to that property is yours and yours alone.
Further, and apart from constitutional guarantees when it comes to the right of privacy, the foreign minister explained that there are statutory protections under the Listening Devices and Data Protection Acts.
There are those who also say that the United States is too big or large for us to challenge this behavior, that we depend on them for too much, so we should let the matter be. I agree that they are larger than us, richer than us, and more powerful than us. But I have made the point in another forum. If you defeat me by your power, I can do nothing about that. But I have a responsibility to stand up for my rights, whatever power is arrayed before me.
Since the story's initial break, former Foreign Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Brent Simonet has gone on record accusing Mr. Mitchell of being anti-American. Mr. Mitchell used the opportunity in the House of Assembly yesterday to set the record straight, calling the claims baseless. He went on to say that the strong ties between both countries will remain intact.
We choose on the basis of available evidence to see this first as an allegation, and secondly, if true, an aberrant rather than a regular occurrence. For good or ill, we are joined at the hip, and we have to ensure that relations continue in all the spheres in which good work is done, rather than dwell on the one possible aberrant irritant in the relationship.
And while answers from the United States about possible spying should be forthcoming in about a week or so, Minister Mitchell says government will ultimately allow diplomacy to take its course. Kendino Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Member of Parliament from Montague, Richard Liburn, lambasted government for its budgetary allocation for dealing with crime. Mr. Liburn criticized government, saying it reduced crime to one page in the country's fiscal roadmap. But during his contribution to the budget debate last night, Vauxhall MP Fred Mitchell hit back, saying government's fight against crime is holistic, which he said is evident in the country's financial blueprint.
It requires all of our energies devoted to social peace, creating jobs, increasing skills, and providing hope. So the idea of fighting crime is the whole cloth of the budget. The whole cloth of the budget. All that we invest our time and money in is designed to get at that vexing problem. And there's nothing which can be separated from that fight.
The Department of Social Services will add to its staff complement this fiscal year, as Social Services Minister and the Member of Parliament for Yamacraw, Melanie Griffin, announced in Parliament last night that provisions have been made in the new fiscal budget for the hiring of more social workers. Already there have been a number of promotions in social services, including, for the first time ever in the department's history, the promotion of 3 men to the position of Assistant Director. Minister Griffin also assured that her government is determined to pass the disabilities legislation, although its tabling has been delayed. And she gave this update on the state of the new post-school age facility for persons with special needs.
I am pleased to confirm that the site for the facility is on Gladstone Road, and work on the next stages is now in progress. The design brief has been approved, and the architectural drawings are now being prepared. A tentative site has been identified for the project office, and we are in the process of identifying the staff to oversee the construction of the facility and the further development of the programs to be offered at the facility. I expect to be able to share schematic drawings of the proposed facility with members in due course.
Opposition Member of Parliament Hubert Chipman also had his say on the budget. True to form, the certified public accountant analyzed the nuts and bolts of the fiscal roadmap and said that the budget is confusing and by its very nature lacks clarity. Chipman also said that the government does not truly believe in Bahamians.
Where are the initiatives to promote Bahamians? Participation in the Bahamas. Many projects the Prime Minister spoke of in the budget communication are being financed by investors through debt financing, pledging the very same land and assets in the Bahamas. Can the Bahamian Investor Group raise similar funds in the debt market using the land and assets of the Bahamas? We have to do a better job than we are doing. The government must demonstrate that fiscal reform does not solely mean taxing the citizens with reckless abandon. but that it represents real and meaningful austerity in the ranks of the government.
Coming up, find out how long we're going to have to weather the bad weather.
And a Rhodes Scholar tackles health issues. Find out more later in sports. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
News is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.